to a presentation about what we've been up to. I heard some people in the hallway telling me, hey, you guys are shutting down and closing? No, we are not shutting down and closing. We are changing it. That proves to me that you might have only read the subject line and didn't read the body of the email. But no doubt there were probably some people very alert at the thought of some of that. So, no, here's what we've been up to. We've this month, right now, this meeting marks the 3rd anniversary. It's been 3 full years since my wife, Carolina, and I took over leadership of this REIA. Thank you. And we love having the REIA, and we love meeting people. We brought a lot of people and trained a lot of people. We watched a lot of lives change. We watched a lot of people do deals. We watched things happen, and it's been fabulous. So, but there's a certain point you stop, after 3 years, and you take a breather, and you say, now, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What can change? What can we improve? We do that in every aspect of business. What do you do as a rehabber to improve? What do you do to improve your efficiency, improve your costs, improve your profits? We do the same thing in wholesaling, with our rehabbing, with the coaching program. And so we're thinking with the REIA. So what do you do? How do you find out? What do people want? How do you find out? You ask. You ask. It's actually, sometimes the answers are that simple. You ask. So we started asking. I'm going to talk you through a little bit of how we asked, why we asked, what we found out. And the answers have been interesting. So there's some changes coming. What can we do? You as REIA members, guests, hopefully members, looking for results. What kind of results can you get? Results at the end of the day are what people are looking for. We don't want to be spinning wheels. People want to get down to the brass tacks and make things happen, make those kinds of big changes in their lives. So it's a refocus and a recommitment to making sure the REIA and your REIA experience when you're here monthly is all about you. So we've interviewed members, we've interviewed students, and we went through what is it that you really want. What are the issues, the common issues that keep coming up again and again? It's funny when you start to do this, you see patterns. Just like if you do your marketing right for real estate deals, you see patterns in how people are responding. How do people on a probate list respond? How do out-of-town owners respond? There's patterns. So we came up with basically some real key insights as to what is it that a REIA member wants. What are you frustrated by? What are the gaps? What's gone right? What's gone wrong? And we want to work through that. So I'm going to share with you the changes that are coming based on this, common struggles, what we're committed to helping you achieve, and how this works going forward. Because a number of things have changed. So this is a political town. How often do we hear about the coming changes and what's going to happen and promises, and there's been a lot of debates lately, and it's all promises. And then what happens? Pretty much the same old, same old. Is it something in the water? Is it Beltway water that no matter what you are, no matter what party, left or right, you wind up, it always seems like it winds up being the same. So how do we change that? We want to make changes that you can actually see but actually feel as well. So yes, we're going to change the logo. We're going to change the name. We're going to change the look and feel overall. Those are very tangible, easy to understand changes. But there's going to be a lot of other stuff beneath the surface that changes as well. And that's to maximize helping you and working with you. That's what this is all about. So one of the things we did was strategy sessions. How do we reach out and find out what people want? The last few months, I've offered people free, completely free strategy sessions. And that was consultative time with me to walk through where are you at in your business? What are you looking to get out of your business? And some people are, and I did calls with all sorts of people, beginner, intermediate, advanced. It was very interesting to see where the patterns came out of that. These were one-on-one. Honestly, my call time averaged about 2 hours. I initially thought these would be maybe 45-minute to an hour calls. They averaged 2 hours. Who in here has done a strategy session with me so far? Do we have any other people in the room? How long were we on the phone? 2 hours. Hour and a half. And there was one fellow who was like 3¼ hours. We dig down. Now, were those strategy sessions helpful? Did it bring something out of you and make you realize where you're stuck and where you need to move ahead with? They were helpful. They were helpful to us too, because I got to see what were the patterns. I think I did 15 or 16 of these strategy sessions, which was more than I was planning on doing. Admittedly, they were slightly addicting, because to find out what are people thinking, where are they at the same hand, to be honest, they were absolutely emotionally exhausting. Think about what we talked about, guys, right? I mean, it was really getting down to what's going on in your life, what's going on in your business, where are you at, where do you need to be, what's holding you back, Where are you struggling with? And that, a lot of people opened up and told a lot of stories. And, I had some people, jumping back to going, geez, I've had that behavioral pattern since I was a kid. And then they realized that was what was holding them back and what was kind of stopping them. And that was, it was draining by the end, but all good information that we're going to roll forward. And I did those all completely free. What's important to you winds up being what's important to us. If we're going to bring in the right education and the right events and provide the right tools, and we have to know what's going on, and we have to know what works there. So we want to know where you want to be and what obstacles there are in between here and there. That's what this is all about. How did I phrase that? Demolish them accurately. If all of us are going to grow, we've got to clearly know the roadblocks so we can demolish those roadblocks accurately. If you don't know what's holding you back and you don't know where you're stuck, how can you expect to move forward? If you don't really know what the problem is, if you haven't identified it, it's the first step to any 12-step program. Admit you have a problem. Half the time it's not even admitting it, it's identifying it. A lot of people don't know where they're stuck at. So that was what a lot of these was about. Now, interesting. What did it come down to? A lot of it came down to practice. I found a lot of people that just aren't practicing. How much, would you go through other walks of life without practicing? A lot of people just wait. You're stuck waiting for the right opportunity. Waiting and waiting and waiting. Some of it's from not knowing where the opportunity is and what does the opportunity look like. Some people would know it if it came up and bit them in the nose, honestly. And that was eye-opening because sometimes it's just a matter of doing something, anything, even a little step. I'm big on, you hold back and you don't celebrate until checks in the bank. But I think there's some little celebrations along the way that need to be had, and that's one of the changes we're going to make going forward too, is if you're doing something and you start to get traction, you can start to make opportunity happen. It can happen for you, but you got to start with the baby steps. And I've got a 2.5-year-old son. He didn't just jump up and walk, right? Who has kids? And they've all learned to walk, right? And was it an overnight process? No, some kids crawl longer than others. Some skip the crawling. But in general, it wasn't exactly, it wasn't foolproof. You fell a few times too, right? Sometimes enough to scare the living daylights out of the parents. It happened. I mean, that's part of the process. But so for some reason, we get older and then we totally forget that it's okay. It's okay to trip and fall now and then. There's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people, particularly when you start trying to become an entrepreneur, start a business, get into real estate, you trip and fall or get knocked down, and then you stay out. Wow, I mean, we all walked into this room. What if we had given up the first time we fell and clunked our head on the floor? Walking is a fairly valuable thing. So it made me think about it. I thought it was interesting the way that went because you see it. So what I'm trying to say is focus on the home run. Focus on getting the points on the board, yes, but it's not all about the home run. Think about everything that happens between there too. I mean, show up for batting practice. Start swinging, hit the ball, get the first base. That sounds kind of different now that I've said it in front of a group. Yes, it's all about getting the first base. I'm back in junior high. All right. That's how to give when I was building the slide. You say it aloud. And anyway, it's all about getting the first base. And second, third, and all the way home. It'll be good. Now, so what I want to do is, and one of the things we're going to focus on in the coming months ahead is recognizing and celebrating people for those little steps along the way as well. Because you're not going to run, and you're certainly not going to run at record speed and get Olympic medals until you walk first. And you're not going to walk until you learn to take those basic steps. And I think one of the things I noticed in these consultative strategy calls was that a lot of people were holding back. It was all or nothing, as if there were no in-between steps. This would just add water and it would occur. It's not like that. Nothing's like that. Everything's a process. And so we want to celebrate the process more as a way of motivating people going forward. So don't get stuck just waiting around for the exact right opportunity. So we're going to call people out. You put that one foot in front of the other, you start to walk, you get that process going, and then that alone is going to make yourself more attractive to the opportunities that are out there. You're going to draw those opportunities in, you're going to see them different, you're going to put different lenses on. It's going to start to make more sense. Everyone kind of following me on this? You feeling me on this? Does it make some sense? Has anyone been guilty of stuck on that slightly? Yeah, it's okay to admit that. You go, you want the big picture, except the big picture is made up of a bunch of smaller pictures. And that was I keep repeating that theme because that was the theme that kept getting repeated to me. It was the wheels spinning. Wheels spinning constantly came up, that lack of traction. People wanted to get a grip and really figure out what was going on. And it was all a matter of the practice time that was put in. So that's why a lot of the athlete, and these athletic images keep coming to mind. That's why I've used them in this presentation, because it's a matter of building up to something. And so sit around talking, dreaming, wait for the right time, the right year, the right deal, the right person, the right money partner, the right lead, the right phone call. It doesn't matter. You can't wait around for the right place. You got to make it happen. That was a big piece of it. So we want it to be kind of training every day. It's the same thing. The athletes make it look easy, right? Oh, that looks so easy. When's the last time you just got on the basketball court and you hit all 3-pointers every time you tried? It doesn't happen. You don't do the perfect layup every time you try to go. You don't hit a home run every time you try. And gosh, what do you do most of the week? Football season started, right? A whopping 16 weeks, 16 games on one day a week. What do you do the other days? Yeah. Probably the only time you're sitting around is Monday, because what are you doing? You're watching tapes. Yeah, you're resting while you're watching tapes and thinking, right? Everyone else does it. Why are we any different? The pro athletes are doing it. Other professional business people do it. Why aren't we doing it the same way? I think because people are losing sight of the fact that there's steps in a way. So you can win the race if you get there at the right time. So that's who we're looking to strengthen. That's what this group wants to be about. Those are the people we want to work with. Those are the people we want to build up. And if you're like that, if you see yourself in what I'm talking about, perfect. You're exactly the kind of people we'd love to help, and that's what we're focusing on. What if you're not? If you're not already that person, okay? Not everyone's that, so we're not saying leave. I'm not that polarizing. It's not, hey, if you don't see yourself doing exactly this, get out. That's not what we're saying at all. There's a lot of people again, we embrace investors at all levels, beginner, intermediate, advanced. What step are you? That's the best thing, because I've said this before when I've spoken here, is the best thing about real estate is there really is something for everybody. There's techniques that fit everybody. If you never see yourself swinging a hammer, that's okay. Wholesale. Flip, find the contracts and flip the contracts. If you're particularly good at swinging a hammer, become a rehabber. Maybe you're better at math and numbers. Get into the financial side of it. Maybe you're a hard money lender. Maybe you put different deals together. Maybe you focus on notes. All that stuff can add together. There's something there for everyone. Every personality style, every degree of experience. There's certain things I avoid doing in real estate because I know I'm not good at them. I know I'll lose interest or fade out or fade away. And look in the mirror and be honest with yourself about who you are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and that's where you're going to find the technique that fits you right. So it's not that you don't have to do what everyone else is doing. It's what specific strategy works well for you. Those are the trends we're looking for. So you can become that person. It's a matter of deciding to become that person. Because quite honestly, we want to keep an environment and put you in this environment where we hold you to a high standard. Because the other thing, and I think this ties in well with people in general, but the other theme that was coming out is, look, where do we live? The Washington, D.C. metro area. What is this area full of? Okay. All right. Keep it PG rated. This area is full of a bunch of real hard-nosed people, right? That have taken their hits, driven, maybe career obsessed, but there's a lot of drive. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of knowledge. You've heard it said that this is the smartest city on earth, right? You realize there's like more higher education degrees concentrated in this area than anywhere else on earth. You think about it. We've got the military, we've got the government, we've got all the contractors, all the support that goes along with that. I mean, a lot of you people work in those kinds of jobs. Tons of engineers in this area, tons of government contractors. That makes a big difference. All right, so that stuff, that's who we're dealing with around here. And so I think what kept coming up in a lot of these things too was that drive to push, that drive to compete and to succeed. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that drive needs to be tapped. If you look at what built this country and what founded the country, it was that very drive, that entrepreneurial spirit, that frontier spirit that people got out there and said, hey, we're going to make this happen. And there's a reason that I would argue, still are great, but it certainly once had this massive greatness was our ability to just suck it up and get the work done. And I think that spirit's still there. People question that at a national level or what's going on in politics here and there. What I saw and what I heard and what I felt through these calls was very much, people still feel that at a very personal level for themselves. And at the end of the day, that's what the pioneer spirit was all about. It was, let's get out there and let's make this happen. And so I look at people here going, this is still possible today. It doesn't matter what the news says. It doesn't matter what the economy is doing at any level. People felt this was very possible for them. And that feeling was buttressed by coming to meetings like this when you're in an environment that supports that and pushes you for that and sets a high standard. And it was particularly supported when we have success stories. When people stand up and talk about the deals they've done and the money they've made, and because you can't sit there and say it doesn't work. Because there's a real, living, alive, breathing person that you can go and talk to and find out the nitty-gritty details, and you realize, hey, this does work. How many people here have done a deal in the last year? Wow. Do you realize what a percentage of the room that is? I'm guessing that was probably 65, 70% of the room. Wow. So you're telling me this doesn't work? Or because your colleague says, or a coworker says, or a naysaying family member says. That's why you come to environments like this. It makes it happen. So that's a big thing. That kept coming up in these conversations I was having with people, was that they feel it. They know it's there. So how do we apply this into what we do? Well, I mean, those are a lot of the things we found. And honestly, that doesn't even sound that complicated when I stand up here and say it. And sometimes the best answers are not that complicated. They're fairly simple. And that was almost as fairly simple as people wanted. So we're doing a total redesign based on it. What are we redesigning? Our educational programs in this coming year, what we're doing in the schedule for the next 12 months, different meeting elements we're going to change and add and tweak. You're going to see the changes rolling out over the next few months. The way we've changed our coaching and mentoring program and the elements of that and how that fits in. Basically, everything it puts together. And what's the main thing that people are going to see? Because we're not killing the group. we're not hanging up. We're changing the name. We're changing the logo. We're changing the look and changing the feel based on exactly what we heard from you. So how does that work? What's the new name going to be? What's the new brand going to be? Dun, da, da, da. Traction. This is going to be Traction Real Estate Investors Association and the Traction Real Estate Mentors. Why? That name came from you all. That name came from the strategy sessions we did with people. The frustration at spinning wheels and not being able to get traction. That constant feeling of, God, I've been at this business for a while, and I'm just not getting enough traction. I attend the meetings. Sometimes I've wanted more information. If only I can get more of a grip, if I can get more traction. The word traction, or basically people describing, the dictionary definition of the word, came up again and again and again. So we said, you know what? That is the perfect name for what this is going to be. So welcome to Traction REIA. We'll be phasing out Capital Area REIA, the name, and rolling into Traction REIA. And it'll be unforgettable. You're not going to mistake it with anything else. That's one of the problems with a lot of the REIAs. It's some name that has something to do with your region, and the term REIA. Yay. Well, that really differentiates you. I stand up, I teach marketing to my students and the coaching students. That marketing is about what? Differentiation and being remembered. How can you be remembered if you blend in with every other freaking guy on the block? It doesn't work that way. Think about who you remember. If there's a room full of people waving red flags, is it that big of a deal? If we all were waving a red flag right now, would you notice? No. But if David pulls out a blue flag and starts waving in a room of people waving red flags, who does your eye go to? Him. You're going to notice the marketing piece. Is that more noticeable? Well done, Jack. Is that more noticeable? Yes. It's shiny. It's round. It's a different shape. It's got a stick. It's fascinating. We're all like children. We're interested by something different. You ever watch a child? I'm going to compare it to a child. Can you watch a child walk into a room? If they walked into this room, would there be anything that fascinating to them? No, maybe the bright light and the green shiny tube. It's a matter of what's different. They go right for the toy because you can see what you're after. If you walk into a room and everything's bland, everything's the same, there's no differentiation. So you have to keep that in mind. That's what we're doing with this as well. There's no mistaking it. There's no mistaking what traction is and what traction means to you. That's what we're after. So who here is looking to gain more traction? Then we'd love to see you every month. Every month consistently. What's the traction? And here's what else I'm going to do. I've talked about these strategy sessions. If this is relevant for you, I want you to schedule a strategy session with me. I'm going to do more. I'm going to do more. Even when we've changed the name and everything else, I told you, I'm addicted to these now. Number one way we found to help people, was it helpful? Was there any obligation? No. Was it painful? Okay. One guy told me it was a little painful. Because, I mean, honestly, he said, I went through, he got cathartic. He went through a process. He goes, it was uncomfortable. I got to a point where I realized what was wrong with me all these years, Tom. And I realized what's holding me back. I said, as painful as that was it beneficial? He said, absolutely. Slightly painful, beneficial. Don't be afraid. It's not a painful process. It's an eye-opening process. So what we have, what are you going to get out of these? Again, running at about 2 hours, that works out to about a $700 value. Okay? Do I guarantee you 2 hours? No, but I told you. Some folks we went over 2, some was a little less than 2. It's a good session. We're going to get down to brass tacks of what's happening in your life. These are free. I am not charging for these. This is my gift to you. This is my way of giving back and playing it forward. Okay? We appreciate having you guys here. We love seeing you all every month. We want to provide awesome value. This is just another way of providing awesome value to everybody. What are you going to get out of it? You're going to get a sense of clarity. What's the ideal investing strategy for you? I talked about looking in the mirror and being very honest with yourself. What are you good at? What aren't you good at? What strategies work? What wouldn't? Should you never ever rehab? Or should you never ever try to do a note? There are people that would apply to. There's other techniques for them. We're going to dig down and find out what would work for you. What are the building blocks? If you're going to build your own mini real estate empire, what is that going to be? We're going to break this down into its basic pieces so you know where you're heading. This, and I think this was the key. This was the one thing that came up again and again. What's the number one thing stopping you? What's holding you back? Where are you hung up? Fear. Most people, it's a degree of fear. It's fear of something or other. Fear is a general category, Stanley. We actually got down and really, I told you, one guy telling me what happened to him in third grade. Third grade. I don't know, however many years ago that was. He's probably in his 40s. So, I mean, third grade went back a ways. And that's been affecting him ever since. And I brought it out of him. We called it to the carpet and said, all right, fine. Now we know. So let's fix for it. Let's correct for it. Are you willing to do it? Absolutely. That's a big difference. Nobody got off the phone with me. There are a dozen and a half of these. No one got off and said it wasn't beneficial. Everybody got something massive out of it. Just these slight changes. So we want to dig down to that. What are your most powerful actions for your next steps? Because it's one thing to identify what an issue is. It doesn't do you a darn bit of good if we don't say this is your next step and this is how you correct for it. That creates a degree of excitement. When you know what to do next, think about that. When you finally unlocked something you've been tripping over blindly, and now you know the way forward, think about how that makes you feel. Kind of just go to that place for a minute and go, oh, that's exciting. The level of excitement we got out of people was fabulous. So what do you need to do to qualify? There are forms. Who has the forms? The lovely Carla has the forms. One of my most successful coaching students. Carla will be handing out a form if you raise your hand. They're gold. Fill it in and hand it to me or hand it to Caroline in the back or hand it back to Carla when you fill out the form. I'm going to try to limit this to 8. I might be very generous, but let's see. To fill them out, I'd like to go with 8 of these strategy sessions, and we're going to design your personal roadmap in real estate. So fill out that form, meet me at the back table or any time of the day, and we'll take care of that. And when the forms are passed out, we will move on with the meeting. Any questions at the moment? What do you think of the name Traction? Good name? Good. You like it? Good. Does that kind of speak to anyone's personal frustration? That lack of traction, that sense of spinning the wheels? Good, because that's what it's come from. So fill these forms out. We'll give you a minute, and then we're going to jump back and do a couple of very cool things like success stories.